Studio 99 at the American General Media Complex. Here is your host, J.R.
Top of the day to you. This is the JR Show. I am your host, JR Flores. You're listening to Kern Radio. Check us out online at kernradio.com. You can download the Kern Radio app on your smart device and take us on all your summer vacations. Plus, you can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Just look up Kern Radio. You can also find us streaming live on YouTube. Just head over there right now. Look up Kern Radio, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And you can watch us from the Kern Radio studios. They are powered by Adaptive Networks. My sign is still broken. For all your IT needs, call them 661-241-0638. That's 661-241-0638. It's Adaptive Networks. And welcome to the JR Show. And it's election day. That's right. If you, it's actually been election day, I guess, for what, 3 weeks now? I don't know when we got our ballots, the beginning of May. Now we're June. This is the 2nd, right? Tuesday, June 1st. Yeah, June 2nd. So it's been election day, I guess, for, I don't know, a couple weeks now, as your ballots had arrived in the mail a long time ago. And if you filled yours out, like Bill called in yesterday, I filled it out, turned it in already. Mine's done. Good for you. But if you were like I, and you have your ballot in the palm of your hand still, and it still is not filled out, well, welcome to the show. This is just the one for you, as we'll help you along the way on election day. Friendly tip here, because we all have ballots in our hands are delivered to us. And so if you plan on going to your polling place to actually cast a ballot like we used to do, then make sure you take that ballot that they mailed to you with you. Take it to the polling place with you. If you do not, then they're going to make you vote provisional. And then it's going to take weeks upon weeks for your votes to get counted, because then they have to verify that you didn't already send in that other ballot that they automatically mailed you. And they got to make sure you're not voting 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, whatever. So take this ballot that they mailed to you, put it in the envelope that they sent with it. Don't mail it back today. You can, technically, if it's, I guess, postmarked by the end of today or whatever time today, you could still, I guess, technically, I'll talk to 2 county workers to make sure that's true. Guess you can still mail it in today, but then that's going to take days to go through the mail and to arrive where it's supposed to arrive. And then it's going to take forever to get counted again. Take this ballot that they gave you. Where's my envelope? Oh, gosh. Don't tell me.
Did you lose the one thing you need to actually, file it?
No, it's on my desk. I promise, okay. Chris. I promise I'll go down there and grab it during the break. You need the envelope, too.
Don't lose that.
Don't lose that. And then you're going to want to put your sticker on. Some of you, again, you've kind of worn it for the last 4 weeks if you would like to. I don't know if... But you have to get it in by today. So take the ballot with you and drop it off at your local polling place, which may have changed like mine has. I found out due to redistricting, not only do I have a new congressman representing me in Washington, D.C. Hi, Vince. Well, I guess he's not technically my congressman till what? January? I think that's when they get sworn in. So I can still bug Congressman Valadeo for a couple more months, I guess. But then I'll be switched to Vince Fong, which also switched my polling place. So just check yours as well, so you don't show up at the wrong polling place and then say, well, I've voted here for years. What do you mean? Well, yes, sir, but you've been drawn out of the district now, and so you should probably head elsewhere. Just take your friendly advice. Take your ballot with you today. But we'll break down a lot of the races. And I'm just going to start from the back because the front is littered with names and names and names and names and names. So when we do discuss this later in the show, we'll start from the back, which is the most important page here, at least locally. And we'll help guide you through that. Not only I will fill out my ballot, but we'll talk with our friends Christian Romo. He is chair of the Kern County Democrat Party, and Matthew Martin, who is a member of the Kern County Young Republicans and works on all kinds of campaigns, also chief of staff for Supervisor Jeff Flores. Christian Romo is also chief of staff for Supervisor Leticia Perez. And so we'll get their thoughts and ideas on how this might play out because polls close in less than 7 hours, I believe 8 o'clock. So we have less than 7 hours to get them in. We'll get their thoughts on who might come out of some of these races and what we might be looking at here in a general election come November. We'll get a little bit of break from all the political ads here and starting tomorrow, and they'll wind down a little bit, but they will be ramped right back up come September. And so enjoy your summer a little bit, or at least these next couple weeks while we're not littered with campaign. Well, hey, I shouldn't complain though, right? Because at least here it helps pay some of the bills, and which helps write my paycheck. So I can't complain too much about the political ads. I love them. They're all great. Keep sending them, please. I haven't heard enough of them. So we'll get to that. And speaking of election day, California Governor Candidate Steve Hilton buried part of the lead. It's co-leads today. Steve Hilton will be our guest in the 2 o'clock hour, making a final push to earn a chance to move on to the primary. And it's looking close, although, and I'll discuss this a little bit later as well, all the polls show one thing, which is great, but there's other markers now, new markers, different kind of markers to look at that I think people aren't paying attention to. And it's all the rage with these betting apps. And do you know which one I'm talking about, Chris? Kelsey?
Oh, Kalshi?
Kalshi? Kalshi?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. It's an app, and it's a betting app. I shouldn't say it's a betting app, Chris. Hold on. I know.
Strategic probability, something like that.
Predictor.
That's right.
Predictor apps. And you can go on and place bets not only on sporting events now, but, and as I think some candidates have been caught, betting on themselves, because you can bet on elections as well, which I think shows possibly a more accurate picture, because if I'm going on to that app to place a predictor wager, wouldn't I be placing that wager on the candidate that I voted for or that I think? No. So I think maybe that is a little bit better, or at least that's what they're saying. I was reading a couple things and I was like, maybe they have a point to this. And those where the odds are landing in these predictor apps are totally different from what the polls are showing. So it's interesting. We'll find out how that might actually, how those predictors and markers compared to the polls, and how turnout actually comes, and who is actually closer might lead us into a different way at which we start to look at campaigns anyways. But Steve Hilton, California governor candidate, will be our guest today in the 2 o'clock hour. So stick around for that as well. And then what else? That's pretty much it. Elections. Steve Hilton, I do have to discuss last night's breaking news. What do you say we just take an early break here, Chris? And then I'll get to the story I think that everybody was kind of waiting for, or at least thought I would be leading with. No, it's election day. Yes, the former Kern County District Attorney Ed Jagels getting, I guess, arrested last night for alleged, and I have to say alleged, DUI. I'll give you more details on that and my thoughts, not just on what's going to happen to Mr. Ed Jagels, but just DUIs in totality in this community. And you guys are free to jump in at any time if you want to break down some elections. Even if you want to share who you voted for, feel free. You can do it. Call in, text 661. If you text, then people don't hear your voice and they don't say, oh, that guy, I know him. He voted. I can't believe he voted for him. So you can text in if you like. We'll take our own little survey here. We'll call it the Unscientific Kern Radio JR Show poll. Who'd you vote for? Exit polling. Live right here, 661-842-5376. You can also jump in the chat on YouTube as well. I'll jump in that conversation. But again, coming up next, we'll discuss the arrest of former Kern County District Attorney Ed Jagels. And again, Steve Hilton later in the program. Christian Romo, chair of the Democratic Party, and Matthew Martin, member of the Kern County Young Republicans, will stop by. All that. It's the JR Show. It's Kern Radio. We'll be back.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, there's a lot going on. We got election results. We got Dr. Dev talking about medicine. John Cox from the Californian will administer a very crooked news quiz. And we've got all the latest in state-of-the-art news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. Are you looking for a doctor who truly listens? Someone who cares about your health and respects your time with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations? Well, it may be time to learn about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA partners with most Medicare Advantage health plans, giving you access to a large, community-based network of outstanding physicians and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Local doctors, trusted hospitals, personalized care. Medicare Advantage plans offer benefits beyond original Medicare, but understanding your options for 2026 can feel overwhelming. That's where we can help. Call 661-554-4544 today to learn more about your Medicare Advantage choices. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help you understand your coverage options and make confident decisions about your care. Again, that's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Warmer weather is finally here, and that means cookouts,
ball games,
and maybe enjoying some time on the water.
but it also means lots of heavy foods, sweets, and maybe an extra adult beverage or two. Thank goodness we both take Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All the things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted natural ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Active Liver helps us enjoy the good things in life with peace of mind that our liver isn't working overtime. Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, and you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey. You're listening to the JR Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN. Keep it locked. TRBS coming up at 3.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Not used to the short break. See, they're already taking away those political. Welcome back. It's the JR Show. It's Current Radio. Check us out online, currentradio.com. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll speak with Christian Romo, Kern County Democrat Chair here locally, and Matthew Martin, his opposition, not opposition. Well, yeah, I guess opposition. Matthew Martin is part of the Kern County Young Republicans, among a slew of other things. Works on tons of campaigns, not only here locally, up and down the state, and nationally as well. They both will join us at the same time because we're all buds. We went through the Current Leaders Academy together back in 2019 with Michael Turnipseed and the Current Taxpayers Association and that group. So it was a great time. We've been friends ever since. And I bring them in from time to time so we can discuss politics. And what other day would we really want to do that but on election day? So they'll stop by. And then in the 2 o'clock hour, California gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton will call in, and we'll discuss with him his thoughts on making it into the general election. Because if you look at polls, it's getting close. We'll get his thoughts, not only that, but on how he thinks the Calci, what is it, Chris?
I think the last one you did.
Calci?
Calci. Yeah.
Calci?
It's like call sheet, but yeah.
Call sheet. Is that what they kind of play it on, I guess?
Yeah, it's a play on call sheet.
Call sheet. But it's spelled like Kal, isn't it? Something like that? CHI or something. My nephew, God love him. He's a habitual gambler. He's not a degenerate because
Brendan Sorsby.
He's not going himself broke, but he loves to gamble. The kid will gamble on anything. He just turned 21 like last year or so, and 2 years ago, and he's hooked. He's hooked. He loves it. Like I said, it's like Charles Barkley said, if you got the money, there ain't no problem. So there's not a problem. But boy, and he's been on this app before and trying to tell me, oh yeah, do this. I'm like, huh? But apparently you can get on there and bet on political races as well. Not only political races, but world events. I think like stuff about Iran was on there, like when the war would end or something. And you can bet on all kinds of things now. It is truly a sinful world. And welcome to it. But we'll get to all of that in the show. But I can't not talk about the arrest last night, or as some would say, late afternoon. Former Kern County District Attorney Ed Jagels was arrested yesterday at 4:30 p.m. He was in the 6,000 block of Stockdale Highway and taken into the county jail. Now, if you know where that's at, it is just past Ash, Stockdale and Ash, going, what would that be? East? Am I in the right direction here? I always get turned sideways because of how Easton is situated on California Avenue and turns and curves and then goes back that way. But Stockdale goes east to west, right? Am I tripping on that? No, I'm right. Yeah, so going east on Stockdale, just I think right before the country club, Stockdale Country Club and stuff like that. But I may be mistaken. He was in that area. He faces 2 misdemeanor charges, one for driving under the influence of alcohol and another for DUI with a blood alcohol content of 0.08 or higher. We don't have any court documents yet that say actually what his blood alcohol content or the breathalyzer read at that time. His bail was set at $10,000. He was actually booked into county last night at about 6:50-ish, I think is what the arrest record showed, which is gone, by the way. I went to the Kern County back this morning because I got it hip to me at about 8:30 last night, just before 8:30, between 8 and 8:30. And I see this and I go, whoa. He just got booked an hour and a half prior to it being brought to my attention. And I scoured and I said, nope, nobody else is reporting on this yet. So I did. And then I looked again this morning and it was gone. So that means he's no longer in custody, which I'm assuming means he posted bail. Now, on the arrest record that was there yesterday evening, it did say he was due in court on Wednesday, June 3rd. After searching to see if he was still in custody and not finding that this morning and this afternoon, I then looked to the Kern County Superior Court page to see if they did have a hearing listed for any time, which I didn't see. And I was like, well, that's also interesting. I'll keep checking. Maybe it'll pop back up. Maybe it won't. Because my question goes is if the former Kern County District Attorney gets pulled over for alleged DUI and our current district attorney, Cynthia Zimmer, has always been on record clearly, has talked how she looks up to Ed Jagels. That is her mentor. He has been by her side for a very long time. And so I'm curious how that plays out if her relationship to the former district attorney will allow her office to prosecute him, or is that going to create another conflict of interest and it will be moved out of the county? God, we hope the Attorney General's office doesn't pick it up. But at least he's already spent more time in jail than Zach Scrivener did, right? Oh, yeah, I went there. Because he did. Zach never even got booked. Jagels got booked. So I'm curious there too, as a former, and yes, district attorney is considered law enforcement. Was he carrying? Is he licensed to still carry a weapon? And did he have his a weapon on him while he was pulled over for allegedly driving under the influence? Because that's also a big no-no. You ain't supposed to be carrying a CCW and packing at the same time, and drinking at the same time. So I'm curious as to that. But when you look at it, and when you really, really look at it, DUIs in Kern County don't mean a thing. Unless you cause an accident and kill somebody, it could be your first, it could be your second, it could be your third, it could be your fourth DUI. And unless you kill somebody or cause great bodily harm that the community and the news organizations cause a scene and an uproar about it, it don't matter if you Ed Jagels or Joe Blow on the street. DUIs don't get prosecuted in this community. And that's just how it goes. It's a sad but true fact. We'll get back to politics because it is election day. Christian Romo and Matthew Martin stop by. It's the JR Show. We'll be back.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The stock market added to its record today as winners of the artificial intelligence boom keep driving higher. The S&P rose 0.1%.
Edging past the previous all-time high, it's set a day earlier. The Dow added 0.4 and the Nasdaq rose less than 1/10. Iran reportedly stopped communicating with mediators after Israel threatened to bomb Beirut as it continues fighting the Lebanese militia Hezbollah. That's according to two semi-official Iranian news agencies. Texas Children's Hospital in Houston has to create a detransition clinic for transgender patients by this summer. The hospital has 90 days from the settlement's effective date to set up the clinic. Governor Greg Abbott previously signed Senate Bill 14, barring transgender children from receiving puberty blockers. This is SRN News.
Diabetes, high blood. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. It's primary election day in California, and the polls are open through 8 tonight in the race for governor and other races that will affect you here in Kern County, like state senate and superintendent of education. The county says 20 ballot drop-off sites are also available through 8 this evening. A felony DUI charge and several others for Michael James Smith III, accused of driving drunk and wrecking his motorcycle on Panorama Drive just before his high school graduation Friday. That's right, he's 18. Formal charges were filed Monday. And 21-year-old Alexander Prentice of Bakersfield is also accused of DUI and leaving the scene of a couple of wrecks police say he caused before ramming his own house Sunday night on Inyo Street. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Kern Radio. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-1509 or biglou.com.
The Ralph Bailey Show, weekdays at 3 p.m.
I've just never seen a family like the Bidens. I'll ask you guys, if your family member, your dad, your husband was in the state that Joe Biden was in, could you push him out there? She claims that she thought he was having a stroke during the debate, and yet they continue to allow this man to try to obtain the hardest job on the planet. They should all be ashamed of themselves.
The Ralph Bailey Show, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox program, heard right here on KERN 6 to 9 every morning. You're listening to the JR Show. Join me tomorrow morning, 6 to 9, right here on KERN.
Does anybody know what he's really saying?
Fun fact, though.
What's that?
This is the lead singer of the Gorillaz.
Really?
Yep.
What's the name of this band?
This is Blur. This is the first band.
Blur. Yeah. I knew that.
But yeah, this is the main singer of the Gorillaz.
No, it's not. It's the other guy. It's Dell. No, I'm just playing. Everybody thought it was Dell because the first song that came out was the Sunshine.
I mean, that was the first one to get big.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily the first one that tried to get big, though. Because, what was that? Clint Eastwood, I think, is that one?
Yeah, that's Clint Eastwood. Right.
They had one before that, too. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Our guests are running a little behind right now, and that's because there's a large police presence, I'm being told, in downtown Bakersfield. KGET is also reporting it's outside a building near Truxton Avenue and Chester Avenue. It's still not clear what prompted it, but I also have D-Boy, one of our good friends in the chat and a longtime loyal listener telling me that there's yellow tape around several buildings down there, that there's a large police presence. Let me see if I can pull out, get that. Oh, why? Nope, I can't go that far. And I can't read that far for sure.
You need glasses.
17th and Chester building evacuated, including Chase Bank and Hall of Records.
Ooh.
Yellow tape up, and the drone is in the air. So if you are in the downtown area, coming from Truxton, anywhere around there, Chester Avenue, you guys know where the Chase Bank is at. But apparently something happened. We'll try to get details for you on what exactly is going on, but that's going to affect any kind of commutes and traffic. And I don't know if it's did, and maybe our guest can tell us. He I believe he came from the county building downtown, or probably some polling place, or some election headquarters, or some watch party going on. So slide in, my friend. Come on in. One of those places. Did you have to come from downtown? Matthew Martin,
not
Chief of Staff for Jeff Flores, and also part of the Kern County Young Republicans. Go ahead, you can fix that. Is usually coming out of the Taj Mahal downtown on Truxton.
I was not just this minute earlier today, but no, so there's something going on at the Chase building.
Yeah, that's what reports are giving us. One of the listeners, I guess, was traveling through there and saw that, and then the KGET isn't reporting necessarily those details, but saying that something is going on near Truxton and Chester Avenue, and they'll get us more details. So
maybe someone was trying to rob the bank.
I was going to say that's the only thing I can think of with it being Chase Bank, if they were trying to rob the bank. Or
I don't think they're going for the Hall of Records.
Well, I don't think that's I mean, although it does have some valuable information,
true,
to the right people, but I doubt that that's what their objectives were. But I wonder if that's if it's closed off Truxton at all, and that's going to cause people delay in trying to get their ballot to that ballot box downtown, or going downtown to vote.
Well, yeah, especially if they block off. Yeah, if they block off Chester.
Yeah,
while they're doing it.
That's a major thoroughfare. I mean, you can still come up like through L Street and whatnot, and maybe come up that way, but you're going to run into some heavy traffic right now if this continues. Again, we'll try to keep you guys updated as more information becomes available. But good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
Good. We had Election Day in America, so everyone go cast your vote if you haven't done so yet. When the smile becomes genuine, right?
Well, I was going to say, it's as I came in at the top of the show, it's Election Day, Matthew, but it's actually been Election Day for 4 weeks now, because we've had our ballots for about 4 weeks. What was it, the end of May when we started getting, or the end of April? Yeah, beginning of May.
This year we actually got them earlier than I thought. We got them like anywhere between May 4th and May 6th.
Yeah.
We got them. So it's really election month, and this is the conclusion. So if you've been lazy and haven't done it,
what are you talking about? What do you mean lazy, Matthew? I got my ballot right here.
Flores, you better get it.
Is it filled out? No, because Matthew, and I'll talk to you about this, Mr. Martin. People that voted 3 weeks ago when they got their ballot, I had a listener call in yesterday. Bill was like, "Hey, I filled out my ballot 3 weeks ago." Well, things have kind of changed a little bit since then, and we've got a better picture and idea of who might be, at least when it comes to governor, those top two, and that could have potentially changed my vote. What if I was deciding, and I'm not going to tell you all my business, but what if I was like leaning towards Sheriff Bianco, and now I'm going, well, Steve Hilton right now, it looks, has the better opportunity, and I should probably vote for him if I at least want a conservative option come November. So I'm smart.
Very good point. Well, actually, I actually always vote on election day.
Yeah.
I want to see what different campaigns are putting out, and oftentimes we'll take them off. I want to see what people are doing and spending. And also, like you said, if we turned it in a month ago, we would have still had Eric Swalwell in the race. We would have had all these different things that changed.
Betty Gee,
and before Steyer, just 10 days ago, put in another $80 million of his own money. And so
record.
When we look at that, this guy has spent $200 million of his own money. I mean, $80 million the last 2 weeks is really helping to push him, to where he's at. And so if we're not careful here, and I would tell any Republicans listening, I mean, at this point, you got to vote for Steve Hilton. I
said it yesterday.
Whether you don't like the accent, whether you like the accent, you got to do it, because otherwise,
the reality is,
we're looking at Becerra and Steyer, and it's looking like that could very well be a reality.
And that's what I tried to warn people of, Matthew, is this whole time, oh, we could get 2 Republicans. Well, slow down now. Let's focus on one, okay? Let's be thankful that you could possibly still get one. And as we're seeing, it's like it could not be. It could be 2 Democrats, and then what are you going to do?
And we were, I mean, if we look at it, and that's really why the Democratic Party threw Swalwell out. They've known he was a creep for a long time. It had nothing to do with all of a sudden they woke up and they said, well, now I have morality and clarity. I went to mass last week and now we're good. It has nothing to do with that. Otherwise you'd have to kick out a lot of Congress. It was simply because they were realizing if they kept him in, it was likely at that time that we'd have 2 Republicans. And so, kicking him to the curb was not for moral clarity, but rather to make sure that they could hold on to California. And I think we're potentially headed down that track.
Yeah, it's scary. I know you look at polls as you run a lot of campaigns. How much weight do those actually carry? Because we've seen in the past where, oh, this poll, that poll, that poll, and then when it comes, election night the next day, well, those polls didn't exactly tell the true story. And also, have you been paying attention to, or at least heard of, like the predictor apps, like Calci?
Yeah, Calci. Yeah, Calci. Yeah.
And how much? And if you look at the odds on Calci as compared to some of the polls, it shows a little bit different of a picture. Steyer isn't as high on Calci as he is in some of these polls that we see.
Well, I think sometimes you have people betting in these apps, Calci. There's a couple others that are just interested in gambling, right? I like to dabble. So what color shoelaces are they going to wear at the Super Bowl?
Right.
I'm all in to do it, but I don't think it's not.
You should meet my nephew, by the way.
Does that?
He loves that kind of stuff.
I made some money doing that. In fact, years ago with the Super Bowl or with the Kentucky Derby, I put like $100 on soup and sandwich, which was nowhere expected to win.
Right.
I just picked the dumbest name, and I always
let's go with it. Yeah.
Why not? And I did really well. Like, go soup and sandwich. I can't believe it. I do it every year.
All week he had soup and sandwiches.
I'm like, one. I always choose one that I think is actually going to win.
Right.
And I always pick. I do one bet on
on
the most stupid name. And
that's funny.
It didn't work this year. But
well, if you're going that way in gubernatorial candidates, I've got a couple for you. How about Barack Obama running for governor, and also living for God and country?
No, the Barack Obama one, I'm fascinated to see how many votes that he polls.
Actually gets.
That's shocking. And also, I wonder, did he change his name? He had to have changed his name.
Yes, he said he changed his name. His original name was some D. It started with the D Shaw. So on here, it's Barack D. Obama Shaw.
Well,
but still.
That is pretty sad if you have to change your name to a former president. But interesting politically wise. I mean, let's see how many votes he gets.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see it. I mean, people, uneducated voters, I think they're the worst, but they would actually, Barack Obama's running for governor. Let me go and fill that.
We get to have him back.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think is gonna play out here, at least in terms of the governor?
I would say it's really just being totally honest with everybody right now. When you have somebody, this reminds me of Meg Whitman in 2010. Ooh. She spent $140 million of her own money, or a little less, actually, about 120. And when you have someone that's putting in $250 million of their own money, including $80 million in the last 10 days, that has a major effect that you can't just factor into the prior month. That's a huge amount of money. He's a multi-billionaire. And he hasn't been favored by the Democrat establishment or the Democrat consultants in Sacramento. They've all gotten behind Becerra.
Becerra now, yeah.
But when you have that $80 million thrown in last minute, I mean, that's tough. And so I would say it's looking very grim for us in that way. I would just say
Becerra, we're almost given like, okay, he's going to move on, and I guess we're all trying to figure out second place now, right?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what we've settled in for?
Yeah, and it's going to be tough. Look, when you have someone putting in $80 million, you think about it. A lot of these folks that are doing ballot harvesting in LA County and San Francisco, they go to the highest bidder oftentimes. And so when you have someone, that's unfortunately a reality with some of these big Democrat operations. And so when you have 80 million pumped in the last 2 weeks, that means everyone's dropping whatever project they were working on, and now making sure that they're going to harvest ballots for Steyer. So that's a big deal, right? And then he can also utilize this ballot harvesting overlap with Betty Yee, with Karen Bass, who he's close with, and so it makes it difficult. There's no doubt about it for us. And now we've got to rally behind Steve Hilton. We got to do it, and so it is what it is.
Let's say that somehow Steve Hilton pulls it off and he gets that second spot in this jungle primary, and it's him and Becerra. What actual chance does he have? Because even if we take all of Bianco's polling and give it to Hilton, yeah, he gets, what's the Republican Party, 35% in California, and that's being generous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's about what these two combined poll at. How can they take away to actually make a run if Hilton does make it out of this, to make a run at it in November?
Well, I think the very first thing he has to do is he has to draw a clear distinction about what Becerra's done. He's a lifelong politician. He's been appointed to a lot of things. He doesn't have much of a track record. And then at DHS, he didn't do a good job. So I think the biggest thing here is if Hilton, we look at Donald Trump getting 39 to 43% of the vote. In the last couple times he's been on the ballot, if he can capture all those 40% of Trump voters in California, and then you have to go, work like heck to get that 10 to 15% of no party preference. If he says, look, we need
that's me.
So if we can pull those NPP voters, and that's going to be his thing, is make sure you have your base from the beginning. And he's going to have to shore up a little bit of Bianco supporters if he can pull it out in the primary. And then he's got to go spend every dollar on those no party preference voters and talk about why, look, you don't want, this guy is radical, and he is. His track record shows that. Becerra is no good. He's no moderate.
No.
And so that's the chances that happening, I don't know, because again, we've looked at Donald Trump jumping from 30 to 40% from the first time he ran in 2016 to the last time he was on the ballot here, which is a 10-point jump.
And how many counties he picked up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you look at the map of California for the presidential race and you see those counties, all of them that are red, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, and another interesting point is in the last 4 years, Republicans have registered 580,000 new Republicans in the state of California, as compared to 130,000 for the Democrat Party here.
Wow.
So there is change happening. We're not there to say it's enough to make a massive difference, but if he can get those no party preference voters to say, hey, try something different, then it's possible.
Yeah.
Let's
take a break. On the other side, I'll ask you about Bianco's role in all this. Does he become the scapegoat if Hilton doesn't make it out? Is he the new Ross Perot, I guess, of the party? Like, hey, dude, we love you, and you would have made a great candidate as well. It's not a knock against Bianco because, again, I think they were both very good candidates, but at some point was the writing on the wall, and you have to look at that. We'll talk more with our friend Matthew Martin. He is, what's your official title in the Kern County Young Republicans?
I'm the chair.
He is the chair of the Kern County Young Republicans, also chief of staff for Jeff Flores, works on many campaigns, not only here locally, up and down the state, and nationally as well. We'll discuss more with him as it is election day. Hopefully Christian Romo will make it. I know there's a lot of stuff going downtown with the police presence. I'll also get you caught up on that as well. It's the JR Show. It's Kern Radio. We'll be right back.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look.
Mr. Romo's not
You
in the cut.
you
or in
can't
the
hear it. Yeah, he's
frame
not in the
either
shot.
right
We'll
now,
get him in
so
the shot here in just a second, but my goodness, it's just crazy right now. Again,
all of that is redacted. I apologize.
we'll try to get you more information as it becomes available. But yeah, apparently a potential bomb threat, man with a gun, bomb strapped to his chest, hostage situation going on inside the Chase building, which also shares offices in that building with the Kern County Superintendent of Schools. We just pray and hope that everybody will be okay in that situation. So just stay tuned here to Kern Radio for the latest on all of that. But it is election day. And again, if you're trying to get downtown, take an alternate route or maybe go to your polling place. I also gave the tip, take your ballot with you that was mailed to you.
Please.
If you show up without that, you're gonna have to vote provisional,
ballot.
and then it's gonna be crazy. And even at this point, and you could still mail it today, right?
I will say, please
You're
don't mail
you're
it.
saying no, but you can.
You can.
But I would
As long as it's
suggest,
postmarked.
as long as
Yeah.
it's postmarked by today, but I would suggest taking it and going dropping it off at a
Please.
ballot box.
Please. Yeah.
If you want your vote counted faster.
Yeah. Because if it is not postmarked today, which is a possibility, there's been cuts to the post office that it is not postmarked today, it will not be counted.
Yeah.
And that's the legalities of it. It has to show postmarked today. Now you could, I guess, like walk it into the post office and make sure it's postmarked. But if you're already walking to the post office, you might as well walk
might
into
as
a
well
Yeah,
polling
but
place.
I don't totally. How often do you go to the post office? I don't really
Yeah.
know if I have total trust in that either. I'm like, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Put it over
Yeah.
there.
No, just take it to your polling place or to one of the many
Yeah.
drop boxes around town.
Yeah, I normally would recommend the drive-through one at the elections office.
But
I don't
right
know
now-
if that's the smartest thing right now, but you literally just go drop it to any drop box in the entire county.
Yeah.
You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be your polling place. Now, if you have an issue with your ballot or you don't have a ballot, you have to go in.
You have to go
Yeah.
into your polling place or into the county office downtown. Oh my goodness. And who knows how long this is going to go on for. So it could affect into I mean, if it's a hostage situation, we could be looking at a couple hours where this guy or the person, suspect doesn't want to give up, and it could affect that area in downtown, which is always busy for the next few hours. So just if you're making plans to vote, make sure you keep abreast of the news at least that's going on. We got about a minute, and then we'll hold you as if you can stay over a little bit. And then I got Steve Hilton coming on at 2:15, which both of you guys are more than welcome to stay for. He'll be on the phone.
Nice.
So if you guys want to hang around for that as well, you can do so. But on the other side, we'll break down more of the potential candidates for governor, who will get Christian's thoughts on who might he think will come out of that, and how he also reads polls and what he thinks about the Calci app and all these different predictor apps and how they
Where
play
people
a
are
different
betting.
role and how they look differently according to some of the local or some of the polls that come out. So we'll discuss that as well, and we'll get to local politics. Yeah, we'll get that in there too. It's the JR Show. It's Kern Radio. We'll be back.
Kern Radio, AM 1230.
Welcome back. Second hour of the program. It's the JR Show. It's Current Radio. Check us out online, currentradio.com. Download the Current Radio app. Take us on your summer vacations and watch us streaming live on YouTube right there from the Current Radio studios. They're powered by Adaptive Networks. Call 661-241-0638 for your IT needs. That's Adaptive Networks. It's the second hour of the show. We'll talk to Steve Hilton in just a matter of moments as he tries to close out the race for California governor and sneak into the general election. We're here with my friends Matthew Martin. He is the chair of the Kern County Young Republicans and also chief of staff for Supervisor Jeff Flores, as well as Mr. Christian Romo, who is chair of the Kern County Democrat Party and chief of staff for Supervisor Leticia Perez. Welcome, fellas. Glad y'all are here.
Happy election day.
We were talking to, go vote. And again, take your ballot with you to your ballot box. Even if just you're going to drop it off, take it with you. They'll make you vote provisional if you don't have it with you. And the little envelope counts too. You got to take that as well. Both of them. I got to find mine. But we were talking to Matthew before the break about the governor's race and how we're kind of giving Becerra the, okay, you're in at this point. Do you feel like that's...
I actually thought that about a week ago.
Okay.
The Dems were like, oh, all right, let's just give it to him.
Well, let's give him.
Because he was never really at the top of the list. He was going way bottom time until everyone decided to get into trouble.
He was kind of like a last resort, like,
yes. No, he was qualified. I mean, he was Health and Human Services Secretary. He was Attorney General of California. He was a Congress member. Experienced, but never carried that name ID, I think, until now.
Right.
But I will say there's a recent poll, and I know polls are all over the place right now, but it says that it could be two Democrats that advance.
Well,
Tom Steyer and Becerra.
Well,
Tom Steyer certainly has the money.
That's what it's kind of breaking down to, at least, though, is the race for second at this point between Tom Steyer and Steve Hilton. And all polls show that it's going to be a dead heat. And I was asking Matthew, I don't know if you pay attention to these Couchy and these other predictor apps. I haven't really until maybe the past week or so, where people are like, well, the predictor apps are saying a totally different thing. Steyer doesn't have a chance.
Yeah.
And do you give any weight to those?
I actually don't follow it. But in the last, I'd say 2-3 months, it was funny that there was rumblings about Becerra then. And then the Swallow stuff happened. And then Becerra just kept climbing. And I don't have the app already. I'm not. I don't.
Apparently, Matthew does. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, I like those betting apps, but also I think
predictor apps, Matthew. Predictor apps. Betting is illegal in California. We couldn't do that.
You can predict. Yes, you're voting a prediction that would become true. So, but like we were just talking right before, Christian. When Steyer, it's a totally different race because the guy, he put in another $80 million in the last 2 weeks of his own money. And I mean, it totally shakes up the tree entirely because you're talking and totally spent over $200 million of his own money in this race. And that's just shocking, right? We look at $1 billion race for president of the United States. We're 17% of the population, 19% really now. And to spend $200 million and $80 million in the last 2 weeks, it really is giving him another bump that he needed. So at this point, we were just saying, from my perspective, we got to all go for Hilton because Tom Steyer may very well be in the top two. And if he does, it's very interesting because it's going to put the establishment Democrats and the Sacramento consultants with Becerra against several $1 billion of Tom Steyer's money.
It's true.
So it's interesting.
It's very interesting. And then I had this conversation last week with the JR that it's also unfair. So, if it's two Democrats that advance forward, great for me. I'm the chair of the Democratic Party, right? I mean, that's fine. But for the Republicans who make up about 40% of the state, I mean, where does their voice go? I mean you're not going to align 100% with either of those candidates. Which I guess not everyone aligns 100% with either candidate, but it's a little unfortunate. I will say that, that a certain demographic of people in California don't have their voices heard. Well, if two of the same party advance forward.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to go back to an actual primary system.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because there's races, right? Like you just had two in Santa Clarita a couple years ago, right? When Suzette Valladares first ran, and it was two Republicans in the top two, and so it didn't give another voice there. So we really should be able to have different ideologies on the ballot and let people argue it and debate it. And those are changing all the while.
Yeah. And I asked Matthew, I'll ask you, Christian, let's say that Hilton does get across, right? Or even if we had a true primary where we had one from each party, does Hilton really stand a chance even come November? Because when you look at, and I know we just discussed polling, when you look at it, combined, him and Bianco are getting the 35% that is the Republican Party in California. How does he get the rest of the way if he is the second?
I think,
and I'll ask him that question because he'll be on in a minute.
And I think another question you asked is why did he get in the race? Was it to show that Republicans still have a chance? Did he actually believe he could win? It's true. I mean, if every single Republican comes out, and not every single voter comes out,
right? But if they do,
every single Republican voter comes out and votes Hilton if he's the top one, it's still not enough.
Yeah,
right? We're out. You guys are outnumbered. 2/3 of the state is going to be Democratic or Democratic leaning, because the other part of that equation is decline to state. But in California, some of those decline to states, right? I'd actually say most of them are people that are left of the Democratic Party, right? So it's the socialists, the super progressives, the working families party. Those are people that are not going to go Hilton.
As if the party wasn't left enough.
Yeah, well,
that's a sad statement. We have to say that the Democratic Party is not left enough, so we have to leave you. That's just crazy.
It's a certain demographic of people.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I mean, what is the purpose of running that at that point? But I think it is. I'm not Republican, but if I were, I would say to show, like a sort of a poll of what is the pulse of Californians, right? Will there be Democrats that actually cross over for Hilton?
Right.
Maybe. I mean, if they're fed up enough with our party and what we're producing in California, sure. But I think it's also going to be a showing of force for Democrats to say if we have two, especially if we have two go forward, it's just that the voting bloc of California is still very, very Democratic and it's solid. It's not breaking if it's two Democrats in advance. But if it's a Democrat and a Republican, well, like it just goes to show the demographics are kind of staying the same. 30-ish, 40-ish% Republican, the rest are Democrats.
Yeah.
And they're not Kern County Democrats, they're LA and San Francisco Democrats. Although I will say the LA mayor race is very interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
I'm so excited. I am up in that. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's so interesting because it's when the people have had enough, they'll make a change.
Yeah.
And we see that in a current historic times, right? Donald Trump is the flagship of that example. Everyone, in the Republican primary in 2015, no, that's never going to happen. And I'm like, actually, no, I thought it would. I really thought so. I said, man. And Spencer Pratt, how very interesting, right?
Yeah.
He's going to the establishment saying, all this happened, a lot of it happened, and you can't just keep kicking the can down the road that it was someone else's fault. And it's very interesting, especially someone who's had no political experience. Karen Bass is entrenched in the unions down there, has a long history, in public office in LA County. And man, how interesting. I just saw, actually, I do polling as well, separately from other stuff I do. And it's interesting because in the last 4 days, he's surpassed her by 2 points.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that I saw NBC and Fox also did the last poll of the cycle. And this guy, this no-namer who just did good social media and went and had block parties all over LA to like, hey, come out and listen to a different perspective. He's ahead of an powerhouse mayor.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's shocking. Anything else? It's shocking.
Again, in a Democratic stronghold, what's supposed to be LA, that a Republican could be number 2. That's very, very shocking.
Or number 1 right now. What if he's?
And that's just really that, like to your point, Matt, that people are fed up.
People are fed up.
What are you going to do? Like, I'm a Democrat. I'm going to die Democrat. But if I continue to vote Democrat and things don't change, we got to do something. We got to do something. And I think that the start of that was 2024 with Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party saying, okay, you're our girl, go out there. But then really, what was the result? Trump won in a landslide. She lost counties in California that went.
Yeah, we talked about that.
They went Joe Biden, and then for Kamala, they flipped.
Yeah.
So, what are we producing?
Well, and I think that gives our next guest a shot. I think he gives him a shot. He's on the line. We'll get to a quick break. We'll talk with gubernatorial candidate in California, making a push. Less than 6 hours away from polls closing. We'll talk with gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton coming up next. It's the JR Show. It's Kern Radio. We'll be right back. Doesn't stick around, or it's up to you guys.
I want to hear him. I want to know. See what happens.
insanity, the taxes, the gas prices, the housing costs, the insane nanny state bureaucracy for everything, the gender extremism, the climate extremism, the homelessness, the crime. I mean, on and on and on. This is our best shot in 20 years at changing that. It really is in November, because we've now got a majority of Californians who want change. 56% in the latest poll think the state's going in the wrong direction. We've got Democrat candidates for governor who are useless or more extreme even than we've got now. They're really beatable candidates. We've got voter ID on the ballot in November. That means we can get a really big Republican turnout. So this is a really important year. We can do it this year. It's a golden opportunity, but we're not going to get that if we don't get a Republican in the top two. And that's why I'm saying to everybody listening, if you haven't voted yet, you've got to vote. Don't leave it to chance. You can't complain about what's going on if you didn't vote to stop it. And there's a further point I would make. I know there are a lot of people who may be out there thinking, well, you know, I can't really decide between Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco.
Well, that was going to be my question, because my ballot is empty, sir. And I've gone both back and forth because I think both of you make great candidates. What do you say to those supporters of Chad Bianco that maybe haven't casted a ballot yet and get them to vote for you?
So we've had a year of campaigning. We've had many TV debates. And we're at the point now where it's not actually about who you prefer. It's not actually about the policies or the personalities. I like Chad. We don't disagree on much, actually. Most things we agree. We've been doing these TV debates. We keep looking at each other and rolling our eyes at the ridiculous Democrat comments. You know, we really are basically on the same page on most policies. Right now, it's a much more practical thing, which is who's got the best shot at getting in the top two. And actually, although some of these polls are, you know, they sort of slightly up and down and so on, they're telling a very clear story. And it does, you know, in a sense, it doesn't matter how we got here. This is just where we are.
Where we are, yeah.
Election day, which is that I am 2-1 ahead of Chad Bianco. You saw a poll on Friday. I was on 27%, Becerra 26, Tom Steyer 22, Chad was on 9%. And on most of the polls, I'm at least 10 points ahead of him, usually double his score. So that's a very consistent story. In the Real Clear Politics average, I'll just call it up right now. That's the fairest way of looking at it. Here we are. Here's the average right now, as of this moment. Becerra, 23.6. Hilton, 22.9. Basically tied. Steyer, 20.9. Bianco, 10.9. And that's the average of all the polls. That's a fair way of looking at it. And so I really just want to say this is absolutely not personal. I like Chad. Nothing to do with that. I have the utmost respect for him, for his years of service, for the way he's fought this campaign, and of course for everyone who supports Chad. We're all Republicans. We all just want the best for California. What that means today is that actually there's only one choice who can get into the top two who would bring about the change we need, and that's me. And in fact, it's more serious than that. Any vote that goes to Chad or any of these other people on the ballot, actually, because it's all so close now, makes it more likely that we're going to get two Democrats in the top two, Becerra and Steyer. And that's a disaster for our state. Not just that we won't get a governor, but that it'll demoralize the whole party. It'll undermine all the down ballot races. We're going to have we'll lose all the House seats probably. That could have an effect in the control of the House in Washington. All the state legislative seats, voter ID could be at risk. It's really serious. If we don't have a Republican in the governor's race, it's going to be a nightmare for California. And right now, honestly, the only responsible thing to do is to get behind the candidate that can get in the top two. And that is, I'm the only one that can do that right now.
Yeah, that's what I stressed yesterday with voters who are, again, like I have waited till the last minute to vote. I mean, I guess technically it's not last minute. Today is election day. And so I don't feel bad about waiting this long to fill out my ballot for those very reasons, because as most, and I'm a no party preference registered voter here in California, as there is a large swath of us that are, and I have been torn between you and Sheriff Bianco, because like you said, for most of the things you guys agree most of the time, and so I think it just came down to maybe I don't want to say he should have got out of the race sooner, or maybe he should step aside. And I don't never want to tell voters that you're wasting a vote when you're throwing a vote for somebody else. But at this point in the ball game, I think the writing on the wall is pretty clear.
Yeah, and I just want to say also, you know, I was endorsed by the president this morning, endorsed by the vice president. endorsed on day one of this campaign by Charlie Kirk. You know, we've got a really, really solid base of support here. And I think with the Democrats in California, there's so many of their candidates, and I hear this, you know, vote who you really like, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, but that's because they've got a chance of getting both slots in the top two. Of course, it doesn't matter for them, but for us, it's life or death. I mean, it really is life or death for the Republicans in California. And I have to say, I think it's life or death for California because we're facing a massive economic crisis. We've got so many businesses telling me, if you know, for the last year as I've been campaigning, they're saying, look, we're going to hang on, see how you do, but if you don't make it, we're out. And so the exodus that we've seen in the last few years is going to turn into a stampede if a Democrat wins. But it's really, really important. We've got to take this seriously. So I'm just saying to everyone, please, let's just get together. Let's unite. By the way, if you add together that 9 or 10% that Chad has to my 22 or 23, we'll win the primary. And that'll be a massive boost going into the general election.
Well, and that leads me to my next set of questions is, let's say you get into the general election. Let's say you make it out of the primary after tonight, and it is you and what it looks like to be Becerra one-on-one. And you mentioned, even if you took his 10% and it moved you up to 35, how do you get the rest of the way to convince voters in November come that you should be the guy? How do you get not only Bianco supporters in, but the rest of the way to get there?
Yeah, I mean, that's the most important question. And then it's game on. That's the point of the campaign. But I go back to a number that's very important. I said it earlier, which is the proportion of Californians who think we need change. 56%. That's more than the majority who want change. Becerra is the living embodiment of more of the same. Steyer is more of the same, but even worse. So I think we've got to, once it's a really clear choice, right now, that's why I hate this top two system. It's all just ends up being a conversation about numbers and who can get in and polls and whatever. It's not what it should be about. Once we're in the top two, it's going to be a much clearer choice. Actually, it's going to resemble much more what we're seeing in LA with a mayor's race, where basically it's already the general election. It's Spencer Pratt versus Karen Bass. It's just a clear choice. Do you want to keep going the direction we're in, or do you want change? And that will be the choice once we're up beyond the primary. And it's just obvious that we need change in California and that these Democrats can't do it. I mean, you just listened to Becerra the other week, just last week, he was asked on CNN that same question through which Kamala Harris made such a fool of herself in the presidential campaign when she was on The View. And they asked her, you know, like with Biden's record, is there anything you would have done differently? And she said, looked in the air and said, nothing comes to mind. Well, Becerra was asked that same question. CNN, Alex Michelson, he said, look, we've got the highest poverty rate in the country, the highest unemployment rate of all 50 states. We've got the highest cost of living, homelessness. You know, it's not going well in California. Is there anything you would have done differently from what we've seen in the last few years? You know what Becerra said? Oh, well, it can't be that bad because lots of people are still going to Disneyland. I mean, that was his answer. This guy's he's so useless. Even Biden's cabinet officials and cabinet secretaries are openly briefing the press about how utterly incompetent Becerra was and what a joke they think his candidacy is. I mean, how incompetent do you have to be if Biden's cabinet thinks that you're useless? It's just incredible.
Yeah, you got a point there. You do have a point there. Do you think you can pull it off in November? Do you think you have a shot here?
More than a shot. I'm confident. I mean, people say, how can a Republican win in California?
I mean, that's the honest question. It's an uphill battle, even with, and I know you had the president's endorsement, and as we've discussed here, the map in California with the counties that flipped for Trump, I mean, now is a shot, and if you don't do it now, then is California done?
Well, I think that let's look at the numbers. So a midterm election, you typically have a lower turnout. And if you take the average of the last two midterms, 2018, 2022, to try and predict how many votes we'll get this year, the number you get is 11.7 million total in the general election. So to win, you need roughly half of that, call it 5.9 million. President Trump in California in 2024 got 6.1 million votes. In other words, just to put it simply, if everybody who voted for President Trump in California in 24 votes for me in 26, I'll win with 200,000 votes to spare. Now, I know we're not going to get 100% of a presidential year turnout. But the reason I make the point is that there are actually enough Republicans, just Republicans, to win in California. So that's the starting point to victory. Get a really big vote among Republicans. That's why voter ID being on the ballot is really important. An unusual factor this year that is in our favor, because Republicans are very enthusiastic about that. And the bigger the Republican vote, the less you need to convert Democrats and independents. And so I think that's really how I see this. I think we've got it all to play for. And so my question is really to the Democrats after 16 years, when they've had all this time, all this power to show that their progressive governance model works. It's been a total failure. Why should they have another 4 years? How much more time do they need to actually solve some of these problems? They are the ones who created the problems. And my answer is actually, fine. You say, how can a Republican win? I'd say, how can a Democrat win with this record? It's obviously time for change. It's clear that they're out of ideas, they've completely failed, and their time is up.
I agree with you. I just worry if, as much as Democrats say they want change, how hard it becomes for them to actually vote for somebody that isn't a Democrat. I mean, honestly, it frightens me that, yeah, they might say they're for change.
I'll give you a story. We did an event in Los Angeles, actually in Beverly Hills the other week, very, swanky crowd. It was mainly entertainment industry people. I would say 200 people came. I would say 90% were Democrats, for me, because they are desperate for change, just like so many other people in California. And it's not even change. There's another way of putting it that I found works very well when you're talking to people who might be skeptical, is to say, look, it's not healthy to have 16 years of one party running everything. No. That's not how our system was set up. Checks and balances, the most famous phrase when we think about the constitution of our great country. We've had no check or balance in California for 16 years. It's not healthy. They've run everything, all the statewide offices, both chambers of the legislature with a 2/3 majority, every big city, every big county, the state Supreme Court with a 6-1 Democrat majority. It's not healthy. It's time for some balance. I think that argument is very powerful. So I really strongly believe, not just that we can win in November, but that we will win in November. I've always believed that the general election is going to be easier to win. Easy is the wrong word. It will be less of a stretch than this primary with its weird math and top two system. So I truly think this is a massive opportunity for us. I know that we can win in November, but it's not going to happen unless we don't get me. Unless we get, it's not just a Republican. Right now, it's me. Yeah. I'm afraid, whether you like it or not. I'm all you've got. Well, so let's go out and vote for it.
You're absolutely right. Like I said, I'm still holding on to my ballot. I'm about to mark it right now, sir, as we are speaking, for you, because of, like you said, you and Chad are identical. I could have voted very easily for either of you. And I think I've said it for weeks now that, look, they're both would have made great governors. I truly believe that. But if we're looking at it realistically, Mr. Hilton has the better shot of getting out of the primary. And that's just the fact of it is. And so you, sir, I'm bubbling it in right now for you. Well, no, thank you. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule today. Good luck. We're about 5.5 hours away from the polls closing, and hopefully we'll know more, if not tonight, by tomorrow. And I'm sure we'll have you back soon, very, very soon. And as you're not a stranger to Kern County in Bakersfield, you were just in town, a couple weeks ago, hanging out at one of my places. You were out at Casey's Steakhouse. That's my spot. Yeah, Cassie Biddle. She endorses the show, Mr. Hilton. Next time, let me know. I'll take you to dinner. I think I got a friend here, Mr. Matthew Martin, wants to say hello as well. He is chair of the Young Republicans. And I also have a Democrat in here. They're both listening, Mr. Hilton.
Hey, Steve, thank you so much for coming to the forum the other day. We had great turnout with that in the Casey Steakhouse. And thank you so much. Keep fighting, keep pushing. It can be done. And Donald Trump got 40% of the vote. We got to keep pushing, get no party preference, and get you across the line here first. So.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, sir. Appreciate you so much. We'll see you soon. Thank you. We got to get to a break on the other side. talk a little bit more. It's election day, and I'm running way late. Sorry about that, but it was Steve Hilton. What am I supposed to do? Got to do it. It's the JR Show. We'll be right back.
Cool guy, actually.
No, it seems like a really cool dude.
We got a text. Like, it doesn't look like you guys are paying attention. You're both on.
Oh, because both of you were texting. No, I know you guys were listening.
I was listening. I was like, he was.
Welcome back. It's the JR Show. I want to thank gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton for taking time out of his schedule today. Not only that, I want to thank Matthew Martin and Christian Romo for sticking around. What did you guys think?
That was good. It was impressive.
Yeah.
I'm saying that as a Democrat.
Yeah, he did a good job. I think he brings up. I liked his. I'm always stats and numbers. I really liked he brought up the 5 million, and then he did 200,000. It is true. If we had extremely high turnout in November, and he captures all the Republicans,
and 10, let's call it 30% of the NPPs, he could get it in the bag. But and also, it's a very good point that we're going to have voter ID on the ballot in November, and so that could actually lead us to having that same high turnout that we have whenever Trump's on the ballot for our side. And so it's a very good point.
I thought he made a good point about how it affects the down ballot come November if there's not a Republican in the governor's race. Does that cause Republicans come November to just go, what? Well, our guy, we don't even have a guy in here. Why am I even going to bother voting for? And then anything else on the ballot gets affected.
Yeah, I think we have to have somebody on the ballot for governor, because if we don't, in November, we will have extraordinarily high turnout, because I think the voter ID proposition.
You think that's enough to bring people out, even if Steve Hilton isn't on the card?
Well, that hurts us if we don't have Steve Hilton on the card. that does hurt us. But if Steve Hilton's on the card and voter
Then I
ID for
think it does
Republicans
help.
for 15 years has been a strong issue.
Yeah, no, that's
like one of the number one. Like we hear it all the time.
That's an excellent analysis, but I would say like if Steve Hilton isn't on, it also hurts the Democrats because then it's two Democrats running against each other. A lot of people might say, well, then I'll just stay home. A Democrat is getting elected. Why do I go vote? And most elections, people go out for two things. They go out for the governor and they go out for the president. So if you say it's in the bag, two Democrats are running for Democrats, well, you might.
And that means we're going to get voter ID passed.
Well, Christian, that's concerning to me. And then down ballot. What happens with the
congressional races,
with the Senate race? That's a big deal. Which is why I think we should always have a Democrat and a Republican in the race.
It keeps engagement.
It does keep engagement. Speaking of some of those local races, let's go over. I think, nope, not that page. I got to go through all those names and not that page. And then, just start at the back, guys. If you have your ballot and you haven't filled it out, start with the back page. I mean, we can. Do you guys want to talk about Measure A?
Yes on Measure A.
It's a no on Measure A. Look at that. That's a shocker.
Your boss voted to put it on.
She voted to let the people decide.
I like that.
She voted to let the people decide. And I know there were some text messages that said otherwise, but she voted to let the people decide. And that's true. They should decide.
That's what it should always be.
Politicians that are going to vote for it later.
Well, and I always think it should go, and I know special elections cost money, and so it's hard to say, no matter what, whenever there's a vacancy, we should have an election, that the people should always have a right to pick who they have represent them, not appointed by either governors or other board members. But since that can't always be the case, I can hear the argument for Measure A at least. About how it should be controlled here locally. I know, Christian, you feel well.
Here's the thing. Why would you? Okay, as much as you have stuff, when we talk about this and that in Sacramento, it should be keep it local. And the other thing is, it allows us for other changes for Charter County down the line. Again, remember everybody, when you vote yes on any other amendment that happens to our charter has to be voted on by the people. But it will allow us. And a great example of this is that when we just separated out the elections department, right?
Yep.
And that took us 2 years to get through an omnibus bill in Sacramento, et cetera. Had we been a charter county, we could have made our own decision for our own county department on our own. And so there are other things outside of this that's important to understand, that it allows us to have more local control. So I understand why you guys are no on that.
Well, I mean, if he had 3 guys sitting on the board of supervisors, I think he'd be a yes.
Well, that's not necessarily true. That's who it is. But no, my thing has always been from the beginning, I'm not anti-local control. I mean, even for the Democratic Party stance, it's, we're outsiders for Sacramento, even us, like here in Kern County.
Yeah.
But it's more of the process. If we would have, this should not be in a primary. This should be in a general. And it should not be rushed. We should have done town halls all through Kern County.
There could have been more discussions, right?
You want it in a general where you're going to have your gubernatorial people.
There's more people on both sides. And you know what? And there's Republicans that are against this measure as well. So I think and there's Democrats who might be for it too. It's very complicated to read that and say, what do I vote for? And that's my point. We should have done more voter engagement, go out there, do town halls, and then even ask. So the only thing we're doing the charter for is for vacancies.
For vacancies, yeah.
Why didn't we discuss other things? You could do budget.
Well, wait a minute. If you remember, my boss, Supervisor Flores, looked at having a separate amendment in there, that if there was an issue with a board member who had a criminality, et cetera, but his colleagues voted him down on that.
Yeah, well, because it gets tricky. And again, if we would have had that discussion in public maybe 3-4 times throughout the year, maybe we could have come to a conclusion. And that's my point. It's not anti-local control. It's more because I love Kern County. It's my home. It's our home. We grew up here. This is who we are. And of course, we're always fighting Sacramento, both Democrats and Republicans. But it's the process, and I don't think this was the best process. And we could go through this again. Maybe we have another measure in 2 years and talk about it.
What I like in one regard though, that we kept it to a singular issue. JR's. If there's other things we want to do as a charter, if the voters say, yeah, okay, we've grown up, we want to be like Los Angeles, like Fresno counties, and we want to start having more of our own control. Each and every item has to then be a separate vote of the people. And I do like that. So it's not just taking this and all of a sudden, Board of Soups could run amok or otherwise. So I like that. It's the people's decision and let them decide. And I hope that your listeners, vote yes.
and Christian says
I
no.
hope they vote no.
See, that's what we do here. Equal opportunity. Let's move into the 16th district where we have the incumbent, Melissa Hurtado, running against Guillermo Gonzalez and Manpreet. How do you say her last name officially, Christian? Is it Core? Because I always I go back and forth. I'm like, which one is it? I always forget. And I'm not trying to be, I know it's on the mug, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Wait, why?
Core for California.
Nobody else dropped by a mug on my place. Matthew, don't look at me like that. And I've clearly, hold on, and I've clearly stated that this mug is not an endorsement of Manpreet Kaur.
All right, well.
You can send me a mug too. I'm a sleaze bag for all kinds of free stuff.
Mug person?
Yes.
Well,
I would have had them both on the desk.
I didn't bring it.
He didn't bring it. He didn't bring it to me. It was delivered to my producer, actually, who lives 2 doors down from me. They left it on his doorstep. Wouldn't leave me one because they saw the name. They didn't leave it on my doorstep.
Well, they couldn't even get a Yeti. Get a Yeti.
We need more campaign donations.
Who do you guys see coming out of that race to go into the general?
Well,
I know Christian's going to take the easy route and say both of the Democrats.
No, I mean, he has great relationships with both.
With both, yeah.
I don't think it'll be too
The incumbent, you have a 2-term incumbent Democrat senator who's getting a lot of caucus money and a lot of money, if people understand these terms, a lot of Sacramento party money. And, you know, it's very hard to take out an incumbent like that, especially in California. They don't want to have to spend a lot more millions in the general election. So it will most likely, my prediction, be Senator Hurtado and
Guillermo.
Republican Guillermo.
Who would you rather, as a Republican, who would you rather face, the incumbent or Manpreet Kaur? See, I did it again.
Well,
that's a great question. Gotcha.
Well, it's a good question, and the answer is very clear. I just don't want to, of course, you don't want, I'd much rather not be with an incumbent. So
right.
It'd kind of be great if she, you know, it's better to not have the incumbent like that for our side to try to pick the seat up.
I'll agree with that. That's true. It's always hard to beat an incumbent.
Well, I was going to say,
how many times has he ran? We beat him only once.
Or David Couch, and just as you can't beat the guys.
Lines.
We redrew lines several times.
Right, which, by the way, those lines,
and now
the Supreme Court decision in Louisiana, now those lines could be challenged as being illegal. So,
but now they're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to do the same thing with Valadeo, and that probably ain't going to work either. So I wouldn't worry too much about those lines, in my opinion, because they've proven not to be matter anyways when you really think about it.
But down the line, we are going to see. That's a whole nother hour. But I want to get there one day because it's very important. That Louisiana Supreme Court decision is critical, and it's one of the biggest political changes in the last 30 years from the court.
We'll get to that maybe next week sometime. I'll bring you guys back in. Who do you think, though, Hurtado comes out of that as the incumbent? I know that's hard for you to say because of your relationship with the city councilwoman.
She is fantastic. She's very smart, talented, educated. She's a great person, but it is very hard to beat an incumbent.
It's very hard.
Matt, you hit the nail on the head. It's hard to beat an incumbent with a lot of money, the power of Sacramento, with name ID. Although, you know, the name ID is tricky because I don't think if you go out to the supermarket and say, do you know this person? Show a picture of Senator Hurtado.
Yeah,
do you know this person?
They would know who she is.
I don't think so. Maybe. I mean, there's been a lot of money poured in now in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Of commercials, of mailers, of text messages. I mean, they're going to find you. They've tracked every single voter down. Yeah. They've gone next door to you. And that was not. I don't think for your producer. I think it was to get your attention.
They probably knew. They're like, oh wait, we know both of these names. Okay, we'll give it to him.
Yeah, but so my gut says it's going to be Hurtado and Guillermo. But you know, every election's different. Every turnout is different. You just never know. But you know, with only one Republican in the race, he's going to get that.
He's going to get that. Yeah.
I mean,
and they're going to split, and we're going to see who comes out of that. Yeah. Since you're telling me that it's safe that Guillermo is going to get across, I'm going to pull the Andre Gonzalez vote card, and it's a way to get somebody out of my city council. And if I vote for Manpreet Kaur, and she gets out of the primary, she can't run for re-election in the general. I'm just saying, it's my way of getting Andre Gonzalez. I know. Don't make me. Don't make me. I know I'm gonna, but he's guaranteed. He's guaranteed. Look, there's a strategy involved. It's the same Andre Gonzalez strategy that I imply. Look, you can go up to Sacramento as Andre and be one of 67.
So I should have brought you a mug earlier.
You should have brought me a mug earlier. I'm just saying. Guillermo, where's the mug? I'm just saying. Sal, where's the mug? I'm just saying. But no, I won't do it in front of you. But that's at least my sometimes crazy way of thinking. So just that's how it's not that crazy. Because again, 1 of 7,
No, I see what you're
big, your vote matters on 1 of 7. In Sacramento, as a Democrat, as we've learned with Hurtado, with Jasmine Baines, you can sit out you can take the easy and go, oh, I'm going to vote no because my constituents, knowing that it's still going to pass anyways.
Well, yeah, that is the problem with single party rule is they can come back to district and say, I love oil and I love this and I'm doing that.
And I voted this way.
If the speaker needed your vote, you would have
had to toe the line. But because we don't really need you, we'll let you sit this one out. And so I'm just saying, go up to Sacramento. Go ahead. Go play with the big boys. Get off my city council. And we'll talk about it. I'm just being real with you guys. And that's how I always am with you guys. But come November, and we'll talk about this later on in the year, city council could look completely different. Completely different. There's a slew of them. And again, Andre not going to be able to run because he's going to be assembly. If Manpreet makes it out of this, she won't be running for re-election. Eric Arias is up for re-election. Kim Weir, I'm told, isn't running again. He's up for real. That seat's going to be open. Bob Smith also up. I mean, you could see you 5 out of.
We're going to be busy. We're
going to be very, very busy.
very busy.
Well, I know you guys are busy, so I'll let you guys get out of here for the day. Thank you, though, for taking time out of Election Day. Tomorrow, Christian, I'll see you tomorrow. We'll break down some results. Matthew, if you can make it, you're always more than invited, sir. Appreciate you guys. Happy Election Day. Get out there and vote. I don't care who you're voting for. I kind of do, but I really don't. I just care that you do. Get in the process. Get in the game. Take your ballot with you. Take the envelope with you to your polling place, or if you can get downtown, and I'll give you updates on that as well in the next segment. Get out and vote. And then post your stickers all over social media as you wearing them too, because that's always cool. Again, on the other side, I'll get you caught up on the breaking news downtown, the hostage situation, before we get out of here for the day. Again, thank you, Matthew Martin and Christian Romo, for breaking down politics. And also thanks to Steve Hilton. It's the JR Show. It's Current Radio. We'll be back. That was great.
Yeah, that was good. Guys. It was good, though. You got some good questions in there.
I've never heard Steve Hilton until but hearing him for a lot longer. I was like,
Actually, I like his stats and his facts. I like his stats.
Turns out to be a left woke nut job. But understand, Ken Paxton is the worst Senate candidate since Herschel Walker. Not only is he accused of bribery and fraud by his own aides, but this guy once stole $1,000 pen. This guy is a nightmare.
The Ralph Bailey Show, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Free your team from time-consuming procurement tasks. Discover smart business buying where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic, the delicious daily detox that will keep you feeling your best. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon or pick up some at your local CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal with telehealth if you feel.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx, not insured.
Let's be honest, money can feel overwhelming. Markets change, life changes, and most people are left wondering, am I actually on track? That's where MoneyWise comes in. We help people simplify the complex, make smart financial decisions, and move forward with confidence, without the jargon, without the pressure. Retirement planning, big life transitions, or just getting organized and knowing where you stand. And now you can find us in a new home, the historic Woolworths building, right in downtown Bakersfield. MoneyWise, clear advice, local roots. Learn more at moneywiseguys.com.
Securities offered through FPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through FPL Financial. FPL Financial and MoneyWise Wealth Management are independently owned and operated.
Did you know termites can silently feast on your home for 3 to 4 years before you see any damage? They can literally eat a bedroom wall in less than 2 years, causing major structural damage to your biggest investment. Don't wait for the evidence to appear. Ryan's Termite is running an early bird special. If you know or even suspect that you have termites, get on Ryan's schedule now for an additional 10% off our already lowest price. All work is guaranteed. There's no money down and no contracts. Plus, in most cases, you won't even have to move or tend your house. Protect your home and save. Call Ryan's today. That's Ryan'sTermiteControl.com.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox program, heard right here on KRN 69 every morning. You're listening to the JR Show. Join me tomorrow morning, 6 to 9, right here on KRN.
Welcome back. It's the JR Show. It's Current Radio, online, currentradio.com, and on YouTube. Just search up Current Radio, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and watch us from the Current Radio studios. It's all powered by Adaptive Networks. I want to thank Christian Romo. He is chair of the Kern County Democrat Party, and I want to thank Matthew Martin as well. He is chair of the Kern County Young Republicans, and they're both chief of staffs for supervisors, respectively. Matthew is with Jeff Flores, and Christian Romo is with Leticia Perez, breaking down politics. And I believe they'll be both back tomorrow as we try to at least figure out some of the results, if any, that we'll get back tonight. I think we'll know a little about the governor's race, at least. Some of the other ones here locally might take a little longer to get those results, but we'll start to see at least something tonight and into tomorrow. So we'll break those down for you. And want to thank Steve Hilton, who is one of those candidates running for governor of California, for taking time out of his schedule today. I know it's a busy day for all of them. So for them to come on today and take time out, I just want to thank them for that. Even if you guys have been paying attention, there is also breaking news, or a big police presence going on downtown. KGET is now reporting, and we've been told by multiple sources in the area, that there is an active bomb threat and hostage situation being held at the Chase Bank in downtown Bakersfield. That is according to the Bakersfield Police Department. The presence is impacting traffic from H to L Streets and Truxton Avenue to 18th Street. According to the city of Bakersfield, several city buildings are on lockdown due to the presence until further notice. These include City Hall North, City Hall South, the Development Services Building, and the Bakersfield Police Headquarters. The Hall of Records building is also being evacuated, and I'm told that the Kern County building, the one over there on Truxton closer to the arena, could also become affected. So there's a lot going on, different hostages. We've heard of a custodian, a coworker being taken hostage, as well as others that may be unaccounted for. And so it's a ongoing situation. If you are in the area, or if you need to get into downtown, try to avoid Truxton Avenue at all costs if you can. I know for some of you, trying to go down and vote, that may be an issue. I know it's affecting traffic all the way to California Avenue, and that you would imagine if traffic is being pushed off of Truxton, that they would go on to California, which would cause a lot of traffic to be going down California Avenue at the time. So traffic and just the complete area is going to be a mess for a while, as this hostage negotiation continues again at the Chase building, that also shares offices with the Kern County Superintendent's student's office has been taken over by what is, from what I'm hearing, is a guy that allegedly has a gun and a bomb strapped to his chest. I'm also getting reports that he says he's willing to release the custodian worker once he receives whatever paperwork he is waiting on. So I'm not sure what caused this situation to occur or what exactly this gentleman wants, but I imagine as the situation continues, we will get more information. Stay tuned to Kern Radio. That's why when you are live and local all day, you can cover these kinds of things. We not only talk about state politics and national news, but we can cover and get you the latest information of things happening here locally. So stay tuned. Coming up next, the Ralph Bailey Show. I'm sure he'll get you abreast on all of the latest information as it comes. Not only that, but I'm being told there's a special announcement from a potential candidate. So stay tuned. This has been the JR Show. Lily, Dad loves you.
An American General Media station.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. European Union lawmakers agree to increase